After a long Christmas holiday and an even longer Corona lockdown, I'm finally back with episode 8 in this web series where we're analysing computer and video games. In today's episode, we're diving straight into the core ingredient of most games, the physical challenges facing the player. My name is still Martin Holland and you're watching episode 8 of Dissecting the Gameplay. When you have to describe what a video game is about, most of us would summarize the challenges that we have to deal with in order to win a level or ultimately the entire game. And these challenges are the core ingredient in more than one way. They tie together the entire gaming experience. First and foremost, the challenges are deeply integrated with the level design and the overall visual design of the game world. They are a part of the world that the main character moves through. Secondly, when we overcome a challenge, we also push the story of the game forward. Even in those games that don't have a clearly defined plot, we still experience a kind of progression. When we deal with the challenges, we move forward. Thirdly, the challenges reflect our main character, or to put it differently, the protagonist's skills and personality are modeled so that they can take on the challenges. In other words, we get a better understanding of our main character's personality traits by examining the challenges they are facing. These personality traits or skills are also known as the game mechanics, and we get back to them in episode 12 of Dissecting the Gameplay. For now, let's take a closer look at the physical challenges. By far, most of all video games have physical challenges. And the reason is pretty simple. The easiest way to interact with any game is to move the main character around physically on screen. This kind of physical interaction creates a near-instant identification, so obviously physical challenges are a really good place to start. Basically, moving from point A to point B in the game world can be a challenge. An endless series of platform games challenge the player to navigate safely and securely around holes in the game world and other environmental challenges that make it bothersome to move forward. A classic challenge is jumping across a huge chasm in the ground. Here you need to run really fast, take off at the right moment for you to sail through the air and land safely on the other side. Game world challenges also include swimming across a river or down to the bottom of a lake, holding your breath while you're trying to find your way through the murky waters. Other games also challenge the player by making the main character keep the balance, crossing a narrow bridge or a ledge, the wind howling and pushing you slightly off kilter.
7 minutes until detonation.
Another surefire way of challenging the player is by implementing a countdown timer and a harsh deadline, forcing you to hurry and make it difficult not to fall down along the way. All of these challenges emanate from the game world, and it's pretty straightforward to comment on how they affect us. Often they create a stressful experience or suspense, maybe even an adrenaline rush, centered on the question of whether or not we will make it through the challenges. At the same time, they can also make us identify ever so easily with the main character. And furthermore, many video games have integrated the challenges so clearly with the game world, so we can actually use these challenges as part of our description and analysis of the setting. A special kind of physical challenges are those opponents that we meet in numerous video games. Opponents attack the main character directly, that's how we define them. They can be static, for example a robot rooted to the spot, shooting at every possible movement, but usually opponents are mobile. They move around, some of them hesitant and others extremely aggressive. It depends on their nature and how difficult they are. They can lie in wait, unseen and secretly assaulting you when you least expect it. Here you need to have quick reaction skills. Or they can roam around along planned routes, which makes them a little easier to deal with. Sometimes, especially if your opponent is controlled by another human player, they can behave completely erratically. But that's another story. A more unique opponent to be found in many video games is the so-called boss, whom you typically meet at the end of a level or after clearing a particular area or quest. The boss is a more difficult challenge, where you really have to prove yourself in order to progress in the game. Most bosses are huge and have plenty of energy or many lives to spare, but they usually also move around, attacking you in new and overwhelming ways. Here the player has to rethink or replan their tactics while also being quick on their fingers, all in all to proceed in the overall narrative of the game. What's interesting about these opponents is that we can use them in our examination and analysis of the video game. To start with, we can comment on what they look like, how they are designed compared to our main character. Are the opponents clearly bad guys, evil adversaries, or is the difference between protagonist and villain hazier and more difficult to pinpoint? You could also zoom in on the skills that the main character has to use in order to fight the opponent. In other words, the opponents help characterize our protagonist. There's a huge difference between fleeing, sprinting away head over heels, or blowing the opponents to smithereens. Those are two completely different character traits. Even the way you attack your opponent tells you a lot about your protagonist. There's a huge difference between sneaking up behind the opponents and taking them out without batting an eye, or becoming the victim of an assault that you have to defend yourself against. In the first case, you are the proactive killer. In the other, you're the underdog. This allows us to call out and interpret the ideology buried inside the game. Is there an old-fashioned eye for an eye ideology invested in the game world and its inhabitants, or does the game allow us to deal with the opponents in a more peaceful manner? Does the meeting between protagonist and opponent play out as a quick coming-of-age story, underdog victim turning into a hero?
I shot the hell out of that guy, huh?
Yeah, you sure did.
I feel sick.
And if you also dare include the game developers and their national identity and cultural background, there's a lot to get you started. There's a huge difference between American shooters and Japanese RPG games, just to state the obvious.
Does that feel better?
Oh, thanks for bailing me out.
Okay, what's the plan?
And there you have it, the physical challenges and how they influence us in many, many video games. It's deep, man. My name is still Martin Holland, and when I'm back we're going to talk more about the mental challenges that we meet in most adventure games and RPG games. That's in episode 9 of Dissecting the Gameplay. See you then, and thanks for watching.